No agenda, no bull crap, just real conversations. Thank you for joining us for the Middle of the Street podcast.
Middle of the street. We've been having fun, Pops.
We have.
Really quick, we had a good week a couple weeks ago on that college sports betting stuff, y'all. we were up big one week. It was fun.
We were due. We were due.
I'm trying to brag and you tell the people the truth.
Well, we were due. But we're up for the year.
Oh, yeah. It's fun. Oh, and having so much fun at it. Oh, my goodness. Thank you to the Academy. Keep it going, Academy. Keep winning.
Well, and I just want to touch on that real quick. The thing that impresses me the most about the academies is they're 4-year guys.
Sure.
And I've actually been blessed to get to attend an Army-Navy game. And
where was that at?
Philly.
Philly.
And as all I can say is it was a wow to me. I mean, the pageantry that went along with that, from the skydivers coming in to those young men and women marching on the field.
Yeah. Was it special?
Oh, I cried. It brought tears in my eyes during the pregame.
Sure. Emotional.
Very emotional. Just being an American, that's one of those things that happened that made me really, really proud to see those young folks willing to sacrifice what they're sacrificing. Even what we may think is a peacetime. I don't know if there's any such thing as a peacetime anymore, but
I don't think there's been a peacetime since Eisenhower.
No.
And maybe even before then. I think he talked about it before he left, right? About the American industrial machine. And even if you don't agree, if you're like me and you don't agree with most of all of the reasons we're in war or being at war, like my grandfather, Papa John, used to say, Ishma, you have to respect a man who's willing to die for what he believes in. And everybody's there willing to die for what they believe in.
Well,
or die for the cause,
And for the country and for
what they believe in.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
And they're willing.
And we're blessed. Truly blessed.
Look, I'm just keep it true. I'm not fighting a war, I guess, unless it comes to my soil. But I'm not signing up to go over there, so I have to give those brothers more respect because I'm not signing up. So, but anyways, those brothers can play some foosball right now.
Oh yeah, man!
They're stiff arming. They're running plays with a different purpose. Ooh,
and they're there for 4 years, man. They're
in and out.
And we looked up actually NIL, and there is some NIL involved for them. So that's pretty cool too, because I wasn't sure if the academies got that or would be allowed to get that or not. But
the academy is better than Dabo Sweeney.
Yeah. Well, we talked about a couple of times about getting into affirmative action.
Yes, I wanted to wait for an expert, but we're not going to wait any longer. I was like, if we wait for an expert to come and talk as well on it, that'd be cool, because I like to do that. It was fun having the mental health therapist expert with us the other night. That was fruitful. But any experts, you can hop up in these comments and do some armchair quarterbacking, because we about to get in on it. Now, Pops, he likes to start with brass tacks, and he has some.
Yeah, I mean,
he has some documents.
I just looked up some stuff. And
Really
I've
quick.
actually had it for the last couple.
We're talking about affirmative action. We're breaking into the affirmative action and what that all entails. We're going to talk about it here. If you have an opinion about affirmative action, now's the time to listen and say something about it.
And I pulled this on oeod.uci.edu is where this information comes from. So when we were talking about doing something on affirmative action, I thought the history of it was kind of important.
Sure.
So it started with an executive order by Kennedy in March of 1961.
Okay. JFK.
And it was really, kind of Cliff Notes wise, it was really about affirmative action on race.
Okay. Race, a particular race?
Well, our racist history, as you're well aware.
Okay.
And they went through a whole bunch of stuff, Lyndon B. Johnson, then added some things to it.
But really quick, was it for a particular race? Was it just for black people? Was it for natives and black? Was it for
Well, they didn't really
Mexicans.
get into that until a little bit later.
Okay.
So then it was kind of revised in 65 by Johnson.
Okay. Lyndon B.
And that's when it brought in more of the written documentation, goals for women and minorities.
Okay. So just minorities.
Just big bucket.
Big bucket. Okay.
Big bucket, women and minorities.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know, like whenever I hear affirmative action, right, I get a connotation that makes me think it was made for black people. But here it just says, it doesn't say for African American or Afro American.
Not discrimination. Contractors will not discriminate against any employee based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin.
Okay. So that's anti-discriminatory law.
Yeah, it's anti-discriminatory. That's kind of affirmative action, how it kind of started. And then California kind of hijacked it a little bit in 95 and changed things up a bit. As you can imagine what happened in California. Prop 209 was part of California, which was a constitutional amendment that passed. And the state shall not discriminate or grant preferential treatment to any individual group based on race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin.
Okay.
So that kind of went forward, and California did some more things. But to me, I think this was the best laid intentions for our government, which sometimes they have great intentions and then they kind of fall apart. But somewhere along the line, to me, it's been hijacked.
Well, real quick, Pops, I just had I pulled up a nice little timeline. And it's very simple, kind of like I said. 1961, Kennedy had the idea of it. In 78, so they started messing with affirmative action. Then in 78, they said it was like reverse discrimination. So they say here, UC, the Regents of UC versus Blake. Then, that Prop 209 in California, they made it illegal to do some affirmative action. Then, December 2000, they deemed that it's constitutional to have affirmative action, the U.S. Constitution, or the U.S. Supreme Court. Yes. Now, at its premise, I think when we think about affirmative action, correct me if I'm wrong, Pops, this is something that I guess what I thought in my head, where you have some sort of quota or some sort of placement for a particular minority group within a company and or a government agency or a team or whatever it may be.
So I think that's kind of how it started. Then there was the hiring quota thing for a long time. To do business with the federal government, you had to have these things in place.
Now, really quick. If you're just a regular business that's not contracting with the federal government, how would affirmative action, like, was it a law where you have to?
Yeah, if you had more than 50 employees, you had to comply.
So you have more than 50 employees, and you're supposed to have some sort of affirmative action. Now, is that like a Rooney Rule where you have to just at least give an interview to a black person or a minority person, or do you have to actually have a job for them?
Well, you have to actually, even from my working days,
okay,
you can't discriminate on any of that. And then you have to have data. You have to keep records because you can go through an EEOC audit. Mm-hmm. And the audit, then they want to know who's applied for what jobs, what race, what ethnicity, what sex, all of those things. You can go through that type of audit from a business perspective if you have more than 50 employees.
Okay, now, but is there because I'm truly asking, and I'm sure we can research more, but from your experience at the big company, was there a thing that said, okay, you have to have at least one person that's like black who's running shit?
Nope. We didn't have any of that.
But you're supposed to keep stats saying that if you had 50 promotions and 49 black people tried and 49 white people tried, or excuse me, and 52 white people tried, whatever, and all 50 promotions went to white people, you're supposed to basically track that.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to be able to justify it. And if you're a decent, I don't even want to say business, but just a decent person,
sure,
you should be hiring the person based on their qualifications, not based on any of this other stuff.
Sure.
And so I think,
but that's kind of the premise, though, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to at least keep stats so that the government can come in at some point and say, "Hey, y'all being racist."
Mm-hmm.
So then, what would they do? if you're not government contracting, but you guys
Oh, they
do
can
some
find you.
government contract.
They can find you.
Did y'all do government
Oh,
contracting?
yeah.
But if you weren't doing government contracting, they can come in
They can still find you.
and try to say that you're this or that. Okay.
Punitive damages.
Now, I think a lot of people think that's unnecessary. What I mean by unnecessary is, say it's a free country. Why should you be in our business of who I hire, who I advance, whom I pay a different wage as long as it's over minimum wage? Why should you be in my backyard of my business?
Well, I think, again, going back in the history of it, where businesses openly discriminated against people
Okay.
by race, by sex, by religion, by all of it, they had to put something in place to flush out companies that weren't doing things. It's always been interesting to me is whenever federal and state governments come up with these policies and these things, they themselves don't mandate themselves to do it.
Like they, okay. Are you saying they say, hey, you have to keep data on why and be able to explain why only white people are getting advancements at your job, but they never asked how come there's only white people in your cabinet?
Yeah. Or, when the big drug testing stuff came out, to do business with like a local state, you have to have a drug testing plan. You have to have people in a pool. You have to do all that stuff.
Really?
But the state didn't have to do that same thing.
Like the governor never gets drug tested.
Well, I don't know about the governor, but
No,
IT people, it probably does.
Seriously though, like the mayor, before the mayor gets to be mayor, that person has to take a drug test.
Yeah.
Or the governor. Like, you ever seen the president take a drug test? I'm just saying.
Nope.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense which is weird because to be an employee of a lot of federal institutions, you must submit to a drug test a lot of times. But the head of the hierarchy, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, comment and say you have to have a drug test as a president.
Like from our business, yeah. I mean, everybody was in a pool.
Sure.
If you're on the payroll, you're in a pool. But from a state employee standpoint, they didn't have to have a pool. They didn't have to drug test when I was in business. But for us to do business with the state and to go with state contracts, you as a company, if you had more than 50 employees, had to have that.
Well, nothing says that that president here has to be drug tested.
I'm sure he doesn't.
So he or she doesn't have to be drug tested. So, or they or whatever. It's 2024. But okay, so the premise of affirmative action to trying to dispel or stop some of the
up the playing field.
Okay, even of the playing field, or just some of the discrimination where it's like for years and years. Okay, for example, if you grew up your whole life a Husker fan, you love the Huskers, all that type of stuff, and you love option football. Like, let's say you loved option football, right? You love option football. You love all that good stuff, right? Now the Huskers don't play option football. Now they play a stupid pro-style offense. And I don't like it very much. But, like, you're still a Husker fan because it's still just, like, there in you. You grew up with it your whole life and things, right? People in places, they grow up in environments sometimes that are just point blank so racist. Even the racism changes its tune a little bit, or it changes its offense. It's still there, and there's still some lingering things in some examples, in some people's. Now, I've been able to, I think, and I know it's not an exact perfect equation. I'm not saying that everybody loves the Huskers are racist. That's stupid. But what I'm saying is that things that you're raised with, they affect you in one of two ways. You either totally disregard it and push against it and rebel against it and say that's the wrong way, or you embrace it and you continue with it and it becomes part of the culture. So then for years and years and years, at some companies that where the leadership said they would, just out of being racist, would never hire a black person or would never advance a black person, then who do they give their business to? Well, if anybody really wants to give their business to their son or to their next of kin,
Heirs.
whatever. They give it to them, and that's how they feel that they were in that environment. So they're going to do the same thing, and they do the same thing. So I think that's where we say, okay, there is a need. There's a need for affirmative action because of these systematic things that continue to perpetuate real racism. What I mean by real racism is I don't mean like somebody's prejudiced and doesn't like you, right? I don't mean like somebody just doesn't like black people, because I don't care if you don't like black people, whatever. But racism goes where you have some type of power and then you don't provide an opportunity, or you limit an opportunity because of someone's race. Like that's how I kind of make that break off.
Well, and I think this is all post World War II stuff, where we put Japanese in internment camps. There was a whole lot of stuff. I mean, you go back, and I don't know exactly, I could look it up, but, women weren't voting. They weren't enabled to vote until, I don't know what year that was.
Suffrage, I thought that was, what you call it?
Look that up, because, there was a whole bunch of...
That was 19...
in the 60s?
No, I thought it was the 20s.
No.
Let's see. Congress passed 1919 and ratified on August 1920 the 19th Amendment granted women the right to vote. Yeah.
Oh, 1920.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah. So women were voting, but they were not. Women weren't treated equally either.
Sure. Well, and definitely not. And again, like it really is a thing that kind of goes back, right? I mean, for a long time, women couldn't own property and all these things. So of course, when it comes to women and minorities, this affirmative action was supposed to stop the good old boy club, I guess is what they called it, to where nobody else can advance unless you're supposed to be like white and male. Now what I'm saying is no one else could advance at certain businesses, at certain spaces, because of course you could always try to go do your own thing, like, and that's what I always profess. But in those situations, they couldn't do things. So it seems like 100%, there's definitely a reason for that. There's definitely a need for that. Again, it's tough, I know, to tell someone they have to do something or do something a certain way. But discrimination is against the law, right? And we've said that.
But affirmative action has been hijacked in so many different ways by so many different groups, claiming the same types of things that really don't. I mean, inherently. I'll look at the sex side first.
Okay.
Inherently, women are far better nurses, far better caring for children. They're wired different mentally than us.
Sure.
The Mars and Venus thing, right?
I don't want a man nurse.
At the same time, if you read into stuff, and not that there's not some great female engineers, because there's some great female engineers, but by and large, men are wired engineering-wise differently, and so that's why there's more male engineers. I don't think it has anything at all to do with intelligence. It's how the male brain works versus the female brain. They're different. Mm-hmm. Just like our bodies are different. But we kind of hijacked affirmative action to now we go into the pronouns and to all the other stuff. And they throw what did woke used to mean?
Oh man, yeah, woke used to be the shit. Like woke was like what my daddy was, like you understood the 5% law. You understood that what was going on, that food was being poisoned, and that control was being had, and that 1984 was playing out in front of your eyes. That's what woke used to be.
Yeah.
But now woke is when you ask somebody what a woman is, they don't know. They can't really tell you. I think that's what the new woke is supposed to be, right? You're supposed to say, I don't know what a woman is.
And they say a man can have a child.
No, they say a man can have a period too.
Yeah.
I guess that goes hand in hand, having a period to have a child.
Which means you have to have a uterus.
Yeah. I mean, there's some things. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some there are some anomalies where people are born with, I think, both sex things.
XY chromosome.
But that being said, hold on. But there's something, I don't know, and you have to really go through the science of it. If you're a man, do you have a uterus? If you have a uterus, are you not considered a man anymore? And so maybe there's just some terminology type or whatever. Yeah. But let's just keep it true. But I think that, I know we're getting out here to these tangents, but that's fine because it's middle of the street. at the end of the day, it's not, I'm not saying that you're wrong or you're bad for wanting to say you are whoever you want to be. But there is something to be said that you can't infringe on someone else's definition of a woman that we've had for a long time scientifically as a woman. Now, I understand things change scientifically because science is ever moving. That being said, our definition of a woman is still consistent with what our science was and with the man as well when it comes to chromosome wise. Now, that being said, and sex organ wise, but we can just stay with chromosome wise because I know things get sticky in like 1 of 20,000 cases or something like that. But that being said, when we go back to affirmative action, we're saying that the intent of affirmative action was really to help what it was a very sexist culture and a racist culture transition into not allowing sexism and racism to prevail in the workplace.
Race, religion, sex,
Okay.
color, ethnicity.
So a lot of people don't want to hire Catholics.
Yeah.
Because y'all pray too much.
Yep.
Okay, you want to do Friday night, you want to do early Saturday, Sunday, y'all doing a mass, and they don't like that. They don't like communion. Okay. They didn't want to hire what do you call it? A lot of people don't like to hire Mexicans. But whatever it is, right? A legitimate beef. Now, okay, so what's the beef with somebody says, okay, nobody wants to hire a transvestite? I want affirmative action. How many transvestites have you interviewed? So what's the problem with that, Pops?
Yeah. Well, it's not a question you're going to ask. So on the application,
Okay.
at least all the ones that I can remember, I've been retired for 3 years now, but it was male, female, or other. Male, female, or other.
Okay. So other.
Yeah. But that's not a question that you can ask even during
Okay, but let's say
the process.
An ugly dude dressed like a girl comes into the interview, right? Like, you know what she is, excuse me, whatever they want to be. You know what's up. And I guess the law should be, right, that you don't discriminate on that person because of that, right?
But at the end, it's still culturally where you get one chance to make a first impression.
Okay.
And being in a job interview, being customer facing, being whatever that is, you get one chance to make a first impression.
But is that the same? But hold on, is that the same thing as them saying, "Hey, what do you mean my first impression?" Like, okay, if I come to a job interview and I'm black, and they say, "What do you mean my first impression?" Like, I'm black. Like, I don't get one chance to make first impression. Is that not the?
No,
they're saying that's the same thing.
If you both come in suits, a white guy and a black guy both come in suits.
Okay.
And they have equal. They're going to have different experiences, different work experiences. They're going to have different education.
Okay.
So it's what's the best fit for that job based on that knowledge.
Yes.
Now, I tell you that if a white guy showed up in a t-shirt and jeans and a black guy showed up in a suit, the black guy's going to get way more of my attention than the white guy.
It's like he already has a little leg up.
He's got an edge.
He already has a leg up.
He got an edge because he came dressed professionally.
He came dressed for success.
Yeah.
Now, if you have the the transvestite is okay word to say, isn't it?
I think so.
Okay. So, is there another word? Multi-sex?
Well, that's a different.
That's different.
Deal, yeah.
Okay. So I'm not trying to offend anybody. So I'm just trying to say, okay. So the trans person, I think trans. Okay. If the trans person comes, and it's tough though because, okay. Well, okay. Sorry. If the trans person comes, who's like a male who's transitioning to a female, and they come in the female like Hillary Clinton suit, right? And they come pantsuit ready to go, right? And they're trans person, and they, so do they automatically have that leg up too compared to another woman, just a woman, not a transitioning woman, but a woman who comes in with not like, with just a rock t-shirt and a jeans. Now you have the trans woman that comes in with the pantsuit. Does she have the leg up?
Yeah, she could.
Okay, so she has a leg up off tops. So what you're saying is, from your experience, like, you're not gonna, like, you're just going off of just straight, like, hey, who looks more professional? Then let me go to the interview and see who's better for the job.
Yeah.
No matter what. Now, in theory, is that trans person should have the same protection as the black guy, to where, like, let's say if this person sitting in your seat wasn't just a fair guy and was like, oh, I hate black people because my dad hate black people, and I was just taught to hate black people, so I'm just always going to hate black people, and so I'm not even going to give him a chance, right? That's what we're supposed to be stopping. Same way as if you just look at the trans person and say, I just hate trans people because my mom always called them names and I hate trans people.
Yeah.
Same thing. Now, that's supposed to be the same thing, right?
Yep.
Now, here's where I have a problem with that. I just set the stage just so I got a problem with it. And I am not trying to diminish or degrade any harm that has been done to the trans community, because I see it and understand it. And I'm not throwing shade or hate. I am saying there's a difference, because we have hundreds of years of oppression that we have documented that has been systematic. And before 1965 was the law to oppress. What we're talking, when I talk about black people, and I'm not getting into, I won't start with the woman thing, but I'll just start with the black people when it comes to discriminating against black people. And I feel like I need to try to even the scale to help that timeline. That being said, there was no Jim Crow against trans people. There was no established law that said separate but equal for trans people. There were laws in many states, yes, that outlaw homophobic acts. Yes, and they called it sodomy. Sodomy, just whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get there. But there, I understand there were laws against homophobic, there were laws against homosexuals. I get that. There was not a persecution. You didn't have thousands of people a year being hung because they were gay. You did have that happening because they were black. Another thing I would say is, when you go into your interview, I'm sorry, I understand people want to be them and live their truth and all that. I dig it. But when I go into an interview, I love to wear a Maasai blanket. It's like my favorite thing to wear, right? I love a Maasai blanket. I want to wear a Maasai blanket all the time. And Christmas, when I'm just chilling with the family, a lot of times I wear a Maasai blanket. When I'm just want to be as comfortable as possible, I wear a Maasai blanket. I can't hop into an interview or to a client and get what I want with a Maasai blanket. It's just not the cultural accepted thing here, right? It's just what you have to do. So you can't just present any way when you want to get certain things. That being said, like I said, my truth is in a Maasai blanket. If you're a transvestite or you're a homosexual, you're gay, you're lesbian, whatever it is, that employer trying to hire you doesn't have to know that.
No, they may not know it.
There's nothing, and I think that's the difference, of where you don't have to wear your gayness on your sleeve. You don't have to, when you hop into the thing, say, I'm transitioning, I'm a girl, I'm a blah, blah, blah. Now, if it's very evident and obvious, then you're not doing a good job with you living the truth. If you think you're a woman and you don't look like a woman, you're not doing a good job at it. I'm just keeping it real, because there's nowhere that I could go in the world right now and people could mistake me for not being melanated of some sort. Most people are going to say that brother's black. Right? Some people might say, oh, he's indigenous to somewhere. He's something. Maybe he's Jamaican, Puerto Rican, something. But they're going to think there's a melanated brother in some way, shape, or form. I'm not going to get confused for a white guy. That being said, that's what I mean by that, is that I can't go in anywhere and get confused. I can't hide being black. You can hide or obscure the fact that you're gay.
Well, everything else
or trans
in here, race, you're definitely going to know.
Or one.
Color, you're not going to know. Religion, you may not know sex.
Okay.
And you may not know national origin. But that's got expanded, and many different groups have hitched their wagon on to EEOC, affirmative action stuff, that wasn't there from the beginning of it, and we've expanded and
Yeah, we have.
right, wrong, and different. I mean, I don't know. I don't know at all. I mean, I know I have a couple of really good friends that are gay, and that doesn't bother me.
You have some gay friends?
I do. Yeah.
Do you hug them?
Yeah. Yeah, hug them. Yeah, I give them a hug, just like I do you.
Good ones? Good
Yeah.
bro hugs?
And shake hands, and they've stayed at my house.
All that. Overnight? No, I'm trolling. I'm bullshit like Ishmael. No, definitely.
Hit me, huh?
No. I am, but no, I mean, like, no bullshit. Okay, so, and I'm, what do you call it? I got a really close homie who's gay, and he's one of my favorite people in the world. He just sees I love the way he sees stuff.
Yeah, they just have a different,
He's
some of them have a
fuck.
different thought process and different vision, but, some of them really don't. I mean, and they get, the crazy part about it is the labels that then get thrown on them politically.
Oh, yeah. No, see, this dude is a Republican.
Yeah. I mean, so the guys I know, and that's probably why I hang out with them and know them, because we have similar political views, similar work views, similar thought processes.
Sure.
So, but stereotypical is if you're black, you're a Democrat.
Sure.
If you're gay, you're a Democrat.
Okay.
If you're Catholic, you're a Republican.
Sure.
And we know those things aren't true.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point to where we all saw Barack Obama get out there, and last time it was Joe Biden saying, but what did he say?
Oh, yeah. He said to Charlemagne the God, he said, you ain't know who you're voting for yet, then you ain't black.
Yeah. And then Barack goes out and says,
What did he say?
well, he basically was saying that if you're a black man and you're not supporting Kamala Harris, that you're not a black man.
He said that too? He did the Biden thing?
Yeah.
Oh, brother did the Biden thing. He took one out of Biden's book. Don't take one out of Biden's book. Look, Barack is too articulate and just too strategic to take one out of Biden's book. Come on, not Biden's book.
He said it different because he's such a good speaker.
I mean, but still, I did read something to that effect, right? And people are mad about it. Now, 85% of over 85% of the black vote goes Democrat when it comes to the federal election. Over 85%.
Typically.
Now, let's keep it real now. Like, so black folks, and I see a lot of it. It seems like for some reason, like the black vote is a given. It feels like it's just a given. And that's dangerous, because if you really feel like it's a given from a political party, then what is your inspiration? What's your motivation to actually do something for these constituents or to answer to these constituents when you know you're just going to get voted in again? Like that's kind of tough. That's really tough. And I don't think that there's any other voting block that does more that gets less than black voters when it comes to what they're given. And that's to both sides. Back in the day, they were going tough for Republicans and they still pulled out and let the South get taken again. Now they're going tough for Democrats and instead of protecting jobs and things, they let boys play in the girls' sports. I don't know.
Yeah, it's craziness. But politically, that just you're pandering to a group with the expectation that they're going to vote for you because they always have.
Yeah.
It's the same thing happens in certain religions and other groups.
Yeah. Have you seen what happened in Chicago lately? Have you seen some of those public city council meetings? I don't know. Maybe I've shared a couple.
I've saw a couple of them. Yeah.
Like, so these people are mad because these millions and millions and millions of dollars are being funneled into immigrant support. And again, I say it every time before I start talking about immigrants. I understand there's not supposed to be illegals on stolen land, all this and all that. I dig it. The thing is, though, that these black folks have done a great job mobilizing their vote and putting people who they think they trust in power in these city councils and this mayor, and having people that look like them controlling the places that look like them. And instead of having the public dollars going to whether it's black entrepreneurship or really great infrastructure or really great schools being built,
housing, all of it.
All these things, it seems like millions and millions and millions of dollars of resources are funneled into immigrant support measures. Now, I'm not ever against feeding people. I'm not ever against helping people who want help and all that and all these. But I guess if you have a budget, you do have priorities, right? And we have a budget in my home, and we have priorities.
Well, and
I can't help the poor if I'm one of them.
I want to feed Americans. I want Americans to not be homeless. U.S. citizens. And if we can help
kids to eat free lunch in schools,
yeah,
pops.
I don't have a problem with that. And that's part of the Farm Bill, and that's kind of when you talk about hijacking something. When you look at the Farm Bill and you look at all of the monies there, and everybody thinks that farmers get rich off of that. Well, it's less than 20% of that total Farm Bill actually goes to people growing crops. But the perception is for people in cities or in towns that don't know rural America agriculture, they think that all this money is going to these farmers.
Sure.
And that's not true.
Sure. Now real quick, I'm just interested here again on this affirmative action real quick. Again, a lot of people I think that this has a quota to do with something, but let's just say it does. Let's say that the fire department, right, or the judges or something like that. Let's say the judges in a county. Let's say you got 4 judges in a county. And let's say that county is 30% black. Should you have to have a quota of having 1 black judge?
I personally don't believe in quotas.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get quotas, then you change qualifications.
Okay.
Now, I think that's true. If they have the same qualifications, absolutely. It should reflect the demographic of that geography. I believe that.
See, I want to believe
so then there's cultural alignment within that geography.
Okay. Makes sense.
So to me, that makes all the sense in the world. But that is with equal qualifications. I mean, it's kind of like I just read something on I remember it was the FBI or Secret Service, where they actually said, okay, we want to have 30% of those agents be female. And so they came out with a different standard for the female physically than the male.
Oh.
Well, to me, that's dumbing it down.
Sure.
If the qualifications are you got to be able to do 100 pull-ups, you got to be able to do 100 pull-ups.
Yeah.
That's not gender specific.
Sure.
If you have to run a 10-minute mile, you got to run a 10-minute mile.
Yeah. Well. So this is FBI shit, right?
Yeah.
So what we're saying is that like, if
and Secret Service,
Secret Service, like protecting the peoples. So we're saying that if this person is supposed to be able to run a mile to go get somebody in 8 minutes, then we let the girl do it in 10 minutes. How does that help national security, or how does that help the job? Right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Now, for example, like that's bad because we don't look at things like, for example, I'll go back to your engineering example, right? We don't say, or anywhere that I know of, that, okay, if you're a woman, you can get the engineering degree, but you only have to have these many marks or this many credits. And if you're a man, you have this many credits. Like we don't do that anywhere else.
We don't do it in education, but we seem to do a lot of it in physical activity.
Well, that brings me back to then, well, obviously you need to do that. You do that. You need to do that. Why? Because men and women are physically different. Like, dun, 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 dun. So if the federal government is lowering the standard for women, then they're saying that the woman isn't equal physically to a man. So then maybe the woman shouldn't be, the man shouldn't be in women's sports or women other things. And women shouldn't be in the men's things and other things.
Is that a segue?
Maybe it's like
But Yeah, it's the same thing to me. I mean, God created us equal but different.
Yeah.
I if they're going to lower the standard, then lower it across the board. If it's okay, you go from 100 push-ups down to 80, okay. But then you're compromising your qualifications.
Yeah, he's in the limit.
Lowering standards doesn't help. It's just like what was it, 1979 when the Department of Education federally became, is that right? I think it's 79.
I'm not sure.
Check us on that. I think it was 1979.
I can look.
We were first in the world in education in, high school, grade school, high school. We were first in the world in education. I think we're 24th now. So we got the government involved in it and we went backwards.
Let's see here. Okay. The United States Department of Education and Cabinet level development in the United States government began operating May 4th, 1980.
80. Yeah. So 79 is when it was voted in. They voted to establish it, I believe.
And like there were like Department of Education that like did some oversight or whatever since like Andrew Jackson or whatnot.
Yep.
But we're talking about the real federal dollars. Is that what it's about?
Yeah.
Just way big federal money or what?
And it's about the federal money being reallocated, but it's also then about the standards being changed and adapted. And I just think it was crazy.
So
because we went the wrong way.
Well, I mean, don't get me started on education system, right? Because here, I'm gonna make sure this camera's still going before I start on this, because I'm gonna get deep. I'm gonna get hit.
I hear you.
I'm gonna get hit. Let's see. Oh yeah, we're still going.
But it's amazing to me how we can go from first in the world to 24th in the world in less than 50 years.
Less than 50 years. So
that's a generation.
Well, all the people that don't want private school or that are so mad about private school getting any type of taxpayer dollar funding or any of even what you pay your property taxes goes to some schooling, and they don't want any of that to be able to go to private schools. And mainly it's a lot of liberals. Mainly it's the left that doesn't want that. And I would ask them, have you ever heard of a private school to prison pipeline?
I knew this was where you're going.
I had to because you never heard of that shit. Why have you never heard of a private school to prison pipeline? Why I've heard lectures my whole adult life about the public school to prison pipeline. It's a real thing. They get criminalized in school. The cops give them infractions. They get more than suspensions. They get tickets in school. They get started in the justice system in school. They have to do diversions. If they don't do diversions, then they get real juvenile records. They go to juvenile detention centers. I mean, it's a real thing. The public school to prison pipeline. But you never heard of the private school to prison pipeline? Why? They do shit differently. I've worked in public schools. I've had kids in public schools. We went to private schools and we see the difference right away. It's night and day. It really is. The focus is on education. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, public schools will just let anybody in. They don't, special needs, anybody can get in and all that. Well, you know what? Maybe we're doing a little bit wrong. Maybe the severely special needs kids should have their own schools with their special attention to them that are made specifically for them, that are more friendly to the physiology of these kids, that are more friendly to the mental capacity of these kids and going to get them exactly what they need and be able to really focus on them. That's something I think about as well. Maybe we do need more intense focus on certain things, right? And so that's that argument. Oh, well, it doesn't let these certain kids in. Well, maybe these kids need to be in certain schools that can really do what they need.
Well, but there's some private schools too that do, maybe not all inclusive, but more inclusive than others. But at the end of it, I think the Department of Education, by casting this broad federal net, what it did was it slowed down the really smart, capable kids and the kids in the middle,
Yeah.
and lowered it down to meet more special needs instead of, like you said, having a special school for them.
Well, and I'm not trying to exclude kids.
No.
It's just that we need to treat them better. We need to service them better, more resources, better resources that aren't cookie cutter, that are more adjusted to them. Then that being said, when it comes to those bright kids that are in class, now you've turned many of these schools, many of these classrooms into just behavioral qualming, just trying to stop enough behaviors to get through a lesson, telling enough kids to shh, quiet, stop running. Oh, sit down. Oh, be quiet. Oh, don't make fun of him. Don't bully him. Don't shh. The whole darn day is spent just telling kids to shut up.
Parenting instead of teaching.
There you go. And it's tough. And then you watch these kids walk down the hall in a single line, with their hands behind their back, and they're supposed to be quiet completely. And it's a fucking prison walk. I mean, it's weird. Now, total difference. You go into my son's high school. It's like a college campus. It's vibrant. The kids are freaking studying. We have the books open around the study hall. They're playing ping pong. Their camaraderie. The boys are all in polos with the shirts tucked in, and they all are the clean cut, whatever, all that type of thing. But it's an attitude, it's reflection, it's a mood, it's a vibe.
It's an expectation.
Bam. And bruv, this ain't a school where they're like, oh, well, yeah, he sends his kid to a little preppy Catholic school, da-da-da. This Catholic school is more diverse than the district public school. So bang, bang. Not only that, but it's more diverse in so many different ways as well. It's so many different walks of life there, so many different ideals there, but they're actually learning and being taught.
And it's not 100% financial of those kids being there. In any of the, I mean, I can only speak about Catholic schools because my kids all went to Catholic school. My wife taught at Catholic schools for 33 years. It's an expectation, but they never turned anybody away.
They work with you.
They work with you. Because the financial side's the financial side. I mean, you got to pay teachers. You got to have all the infrastructure. You got to have all that stuff, and I get it. But the expectations, that they lay out for you as a student, and really, to me, those schools are turning kids into being very productive adults.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no, I mean, if they can be accused of a pipeline, in that the slower kids, they don't do as good a job with because they don't have time. They're moving on with those high skilled, high push, which always frustrated me a little bit when our kids were in school. But they lay out an expectation that you're going to go on and you're going to do something with your life.
See, and I guess I don't know as well when it comes to that side of, because we just have, we're blessed with exceptional children. Our children are, trying to get the straight A's and really want to do good at school and all these things. But that being said, too, it is, when my son went to my public school for middle school for one day, Pops, one day is all he needed. He said, I'm not going back there. I said, okay. So the kid, the same vice principal or assistant principal, whatever, was there since when I was there. Big Italian dude. Well, when I was young, he looked like big. But now that I've grown up, he's not that big. But when I was young, he's like this big, towering Italian Sopranos looking motherfucker. And but he had curly hair. And this dude was wild. So when my son was at the first day of school, he said, look, these kids were right in front of him, cussing, like calling each other like motherfucker, this, that. And fought right in front of him. He said he didn't lift a finger. He just watched the shit happen.
Well, they're not allowed to.
Just watched that. Now, back in my day, I remember the homie fighting, something happened. This dude, he came and belly flopped on the dude base. Now, he's older now, of course. Probably don't want to get in the tango. And these kids are bigger, whatever. But there was no action. There was he wasn't even trying to say nothing. I feel like it just got worse and worse. To where some of these, I'm not saying all public schools, I'm not saying this is every single day or whatever, But I'm just saying, this never happens at his new school. And you hear about from other kids, I teach, so kids who go to public schools all day, and they tell me how there's a fight every day. There's a fight. Oh, somebody had a knife, or somebody's talking about how they had a gun, or every day there's a fight. There's something drastic going on in their school that's violent. And I've never heard that in my son's school. There's never a fight. There's never it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen.
Well,
because they're going to school.
Well, and it does some, but by and large, it doesn't last, and it gets squelched pretty early beforehand. Sure. Before it gets to that level,
sure.
There's typically adult intervention saying, hey, whoa, what's going on here? Because you can read body language well before it goes to fisticuffs typically.
Sure. Yeah, but it's just not, just like I said, there's an expectation there. Mm-hmm. And then there's a difference of the brotherhood there. And then when we talk about separating the sexes, separating the girls from the boys in school. Girls need to go to girls' schools with girls, because they're not pressured to try to impress boys. There's not that extra fight between girls of, oh, I like him and now he likes you. He wants to talk to you, so I'm mad at you. And all that different extra pressure. They can actually just be in a safe space and study and learn and embrace their skills and their genius and nurturing all these things. And then the same thing for the boys. You're not showing out for the girls. You're not trying to be cool for the girls. You're not, dudes playing basketball. I mean, you'll know this. Any dude, play some basketball with just your homies, right? Now let a girl walk in while you're playing basketball. Whole different fucking game. Whole new game. Everybody thinks they're Michael Jordan. Before, you guys are just playing pickup, a little fun, just shooting the ball around. The girl walk in, everybody checking up hard, elbows are sharp, all that. So it's a different dynamic when you're able to have a girls' school and a boys' school, and they get to focus on brotherhood, get to focus on sisterhood and education. Totally different. I think it's the biggest, the hugest thing that we should be trying to do. What you got here?
I just sent you a link of some of this stuff from
the ACLU.
Yep, the history on the American Civil. It really talks about this prison pipeline stuff as you as you page through things.
Ooh, we're gonna have to put that up there for the peoples. Now the ACLU, I have a love-hate relationship with the ACLU.
Everybody does.
Oh, really? I thought it was just me.
I think everybody.
I have a big love-hate relationship with the ACLU because they just did something that I liked. Okay, what do you think about what they just did, Pops, in Nebraska, where they just pushed again and the judge said, okay, for felons who have completed their probation, parole, and everything, and did their time to their crime, now they can vote again.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
They had to fight hard for that. The ACLU fought hard for that. Do you think there's any felony that you should never get the right to vote again?
No, I don't believe. Once you have completed everything, because most of them, by the time you've done your time, and then you've had to do your probationary period, you've had to keep yourself, straightened up that whole time.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that. I mean, I believe everybody deserves a second chance.
Yeah. Now, do you think that, I don't know, the guy who...
Now, here's the problem.
Okay.
So the guy that's a felony sex offender,
okay,
should he be going to a school to vote? No.
Oh, well, yeah, you got to stop that. Okay.
I mean, he's got to vote mail in, or he needs to walk into the election commission office and vote.
Okay.
He can't be going to school to vote.
No. Mail in ballot.
So to me, there's some of those areas that you still have to.
See, I'm kind of biased too. I'm like, man, if you're a sex offender against a kid, like, you shouldn't be able to vote. Probably you shouldn't be able to be free again. I know that's my own bias, but I digress. You're supposed to be a better person and you're supposed to the law, the land, whatever. Oh man.
And chances are, most of those guys that have true problems, they don't get through probation. They get in trouble again, and they end up right back in the clean.
Well, they should never come out. Okay, so here's my thing then too. Wait, hold on. And I don't know how this affects sex offenders, but if you're on a sex offender registry, then you can't vote, then, right? Because you're still doing your time.
Well.
Because you're still doing your time.
Yeah, and that's one of those, because I don't think you ever get off the registry.
No, you do. Some do.
Oh,
so there's some people are like 25, some people are 20, some people are 10, some people are lifetime.
Yeah, once you get off of it. But I still
once you get off of it, then you're good. But if you're on
good,
it, I think you're still on probation or something.
You're good, but I still don't think you should be allowed to walk into a school and vote.
Of course not.
Ever.
And if you're not on the list, I don't think that. If you're not on the list anymore, I think you do whatever you want. That's rough. That's really rough. Now, that being said, okay, but I wasn't even talking about those people. I was talking about, I mean, I guess a felony is a felony, right? Okay, but let's say this, right? Let's say that,
But one of the rights, I don't think a convicted felon should ever get back the right to own and bear arms.
why?
Too much damage can be done if they digress.
So my question, right? You did bank fraud. Like, what does that have to do with you having a gun and being violent? But you did bank fraud. Like, hey, look, I fucked up. I did do bank fraud. I wanted the money. I broke the law, right? I did bank fraud. I have a felony. Why can't I protect my home and my family?
You can. You just can't own a gun to do it.
Damn, that's tough. That's tough.
I mean, that's
tough.
And I'm a NRA gun
That's
toting.
tough. But for me,
owner.
that's tough. Okay, now here's another thing why that's tough to me, right?
And I should say, you can't legally own a gun.
Yeah.
There's lots of people who legally own guns.
Of course, but you don't want to do that because that's a big fine, right? Now, so like,
But probably back to prison if you're a felon.
oh yeah, fuck yeah. So, but here's the thing, right? If you are a person who, like me or like many people, right, could easily have a felony for political activity. You could easily get a felony for being in January 6th.
Yeah.
You could easily. I'm not over here saying that people should have been jumping over the wall or whatever like that, but they let a lot of people in too. I'm just saying, I saw the video. They let people in. Some people jumped over. Some people walked in. Just saying. Now, but
some were escorted in.
I'm just saying. I saw some video. I seen the videos. Now, that being said, if I am a person that could easily have a felony for chaining myself to the bridge because I don't believe in nuclear war, or I could have a felony because I don't want to pay taxes because I don't want to send my fucking money to kill kids in Palestine or to kill Russians or whoever the fuck they want to bomb next, right? I don't want to do that, like how Lauryn Hill says. I don't want to do that. So go ahead, give me I'll get the felony and give me my 6 months in jail. Cool, whatever. I get out and do it again if I have to. But I can't own a gun now? Like that. Now. See, that's where it gets real sticky to me because I think that there's too many times where we know the justice system is unjust and it's not right. They get it wrong. There's too many people that are false accused and all those things. So if I did my time, paid my crime, why can't I get a gun back if I'm not violent? Like, I get it, right? I did a drive-by, killed a dude, I can't get my gun back. Or I killed my neighbor because we had a dispute over trash on the side of the road or some shit. Right?
Well, and I don't know that they did if it's all felonies if they've done their stuff and cleaned it up, or if they've limited it to,
or if it's just violent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly what they did on the voting thing because I don't think it was for all felons to be able to vote either. But I don't know for sure.
I thought it was all felons. I'm not for sure. It could have been just. But see, that's my thing too. It's like, damn, because okay, there's so many situations, right? Pop's like, okay, so I beat a motherfucker's ass because he was, I think, threatening me or my family or my wife or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody, and I hate to say this because I want to be able to say, hey, babe, like, it's never worth, like, how people will say, somebody will be like, tell that bitch to move. You'd be like, what? What'd you say to my wife? That's my woman. And then people die over that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you want to be able to say, okay, nothing's worth that. You just be like, you know what? We're just going to leave here. It's not about your honor, babe. It's about, like, let's leave here safely, not fuck with crazy people, right? But, so you're in a situation where somebody feel like coming at you or they hurt you, whatever it may be, and then you fuck them up. Now you're a violent criminal because you got convicted. In Nebraska, there's no self-defense. You know that? So if somebody comes at you and tries to beat you up, you have to run away. And if you, even while running away, trip them or they trip and fall and break their neck or some shit, they can try to sue you, whatever it is. But you can get in trouble for that. I've been there personally. It personally had charges against me because you can be in trouble for somebody trying to attack you and you fuck them up. Then you're a felon. You're a violent felon. So now I can never vote again?
Well, maybe.
Or get my gun?
Well, you may or may not you may have been charged with a felon. You may not have been convicted of a felon. You may have been convicted of a misdemeanor.
Thank God I am who I am and understood the law a little bit. But most people like me who did not have money at the time, they're looking at a 10 to 20 and they're saying, look, just plead right now. We'll give you it's going to be the lowest class felony and you're going to get 1 to 3 years. That's the best thing you can do. That's what my public defender told me. Probably. Yeah. So the best thing you can do, just 1 to 3 years, the best thing you can do. That's going to help here. That's the best thing you can do. And you know how many people do that and say, okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay, now you can't vote or you can't own a gun. But you know me. I'm no different. I would have progressed the same, except for I'd have been in fucking jail or prison for a year or 18 months or whatever. But what I'm trying to say is this same person here that you know right now at 38 could have easily been a felon. But now I can't own a gun?
So could have I.
That's why I don't think it's fair.
Yeah. I mean,
Because situational like that, second chances, second what you call it, man, I think it's hard to take away a man's gun. That's tough to me.
so right now,
Even violent.
it's not even. I mean, this is voting rights restored upon completion of your incarceration plus any period of parole or probation.
Yeah.
You should receive notice from the Department of Corrections, Parole Administration, the judge that you can complete your sentence. At that time, you can submit a new.
So what had
voter
happened
registration.
was, so what happened was the judge had overruled that, or like put a stop to it, and then it just went back, and the judge said, "Okay, what's up, man? What's up? You want to talk about this? Huh? All right, you could have been a guest. That's my son. He heard about it, but I'm telling you, man, the gun thing really bothers me because it's too easy to call someone a felon,
It is.
and for the government to call someone a felon, and now because Second Amendment is not really about protecting yourself against your neighbor. It's really supposed to be about protecting yourself against the government. That being said, the government got drones and snipes and lasers and sonic weapons, and there's no chance with you trying to fight the government. So don't get that idea because you're going to lose. That's stupid. But what I'm saying is, in premise, if you can just call someone a felon and take their gun away, there's nothing stopping tyranny.
Yeah. Well, and that's where it's at.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's why I feel like we need to fight for people to be able to have their gun.
I mean, to me, the big question on gun ownership: can the government ever guarantee us that there will never be a tyrannical government? No, they can't. No. So then, there's no question on the Second Amendment, as far as I'm concerned.
I just want to expand it a little bit in certain ways. In certain ways, I want to expand that bad boy. And I think part of it has to be that we need a department of gun safety. It sounds weird. I know government will fuck it up. But I don't know, maybe states need to adopt it or something. Okay, because how cool would it be to, in school, it's common knowledge of how to handle a gun and how to be safely with a gun, right?
We did that in high school when I was in high school.
So if we could adopt something like that, and I know you're talking about the program. You had a beautiful idea for the program. And
Yeah.
I mean, I only have the idea because you said it. And how cool would that be? I see kids in China fucking do that shit with a blindfold. Like, take the gun away, put it back together.
To me, we have completely missed the safety piece of responsible gun ownership, responsible gun safety.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, a lot of these kids are learning from their buddy
Oh, yeah. That's
when they're
dangerous.
home and their parents aren't home. And they get in to show this gun thinking it's really cool. And pretty soon, that's one of those kids that get shot and killed accidentally, which is a lot of our gun deaths, especially of kids.
Yeah, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. It is a lot of that. And then there, of course, is the other part of it where, you know, young folks have guns and they're being violent with them and doing violent things with them. And that's a whole, again, that's a cultural thing that we need to attack and change. But there was a cultural time where there was plenty of guns and that wasn't the issue. That's all I'm saying. There's plenty of guns and that wasn't the issue.
But you remember you and I having the conversation about your son and me wanting to take him shooting when he was younger and teach him about guns. And
For a long time, I was against guns.
Whoa.
For a long time, I was against guns, Pops.
I know.
No, I was full. I remember. I was full blown cult. I was full blown like leftist cult, where it's like if you learn about guns, you have an affinity for guns, start liking guns, start accepting that you just kill things and the killing's okay, and when it's just the opposite. Actually, if you can respect guns and understand guns and have the gun safety, you'll never really want to ever use a gun on a person.
Yeah.
And that's what it turns into, I think. To where, how old are you? How old are you?
60.
60. Have you ever shot a gun at a person, actually?
No. Was Was close once when some guy inadvertently came in my house, and I pointed at him with the intent to use it and didn't have to because he exited. He figured out he was in the wrong house and had too much to drink, but I didn't sleep the rest of the night.
Sure.
It scared me.
Now, a person that doesn't have as much gun training, gun restraint, gun I feel like they just are much more trigger happy.
Yeah.
You get around a gun, it's like, bam. It's like, shit. Because they don't understand that really is the end of everything. Like, that can be the end. The real end.
Yeah, you're unlifing somebody. Right
That's
now.
what they call it, the unaliving. Unaliving. You better smoke somebody. So, and I think that's been part of not understanding the seriousness of guns for a long time, where I've been around is you have to respect guns. And I didn't have the respect for guns until later on in life, you know, and really understand too. Like really understand. Another thing is I'll just put this as a challenge to anybody who's really left leaning, who's watching this right now, right? If you're super left leaning, and especially if you're black, right? My heroes were Black Panthers. And if your heroes are Black Panthers, and if you think you align with Fred Hampton or Bobby Seale or Huey P. Newton, you better have a gun, brother. Point blank. Like let's keep it real. The best revolutionaries had guns. Now, I'm not saying the best revolutionaries killed, right? Malcolm X is a beautiful revolutionary. He didn't kill. Martin Luther King Jr., revolutionary. He didn't kill, but he had a gun. And then you look at anybody revolutionary throughout the whole, you know, many people love the revolutionary people of America and all those type of things. Guns. You had a gun.
So, digress a little bit. So, when it comes to shotguns.
Ooh, shotties.
So, shotgun,
baby.
So, if you look at 12 gauge, most popular out there,
okay,
which is .725 in diameter.
Okay.
So 12 gauge means that you would have 12 balls that size that would fit down the barrel that would weigh 1 pound.
Oh, wow.
So a 16 gauge, it took 16 balls at .665 inch to weigh a pound. That's how they came up with the gauging of shotguns.
So really quick, the shell of that 12 gauge, that little compartment with all those little balls in it, that's 100 of them hoes? Or no, that's a pound of those hoes?
No. That 12 gauge shell, just the diameter of it means that it's 12 gauge because 12 balls would weigh 1 pound at that diameter.
Oh, at that diameter. I get it.
At that diameter.
Okay.
Yeah, because the 12 gauge, I mean, there's 2 3/4, there's 3 and 3.5 inch with different shot in them for different things, for waterfowl, for self-defense, for whatever. But just nobody really understands what a 12 gauge was and how it was done, or a 16 gauge or 20 gauge.
No idea.
So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
So what's this 410 bore? 410?
Yeah, so that's the diameter of the bore. That's the only one that's a little bit different.
That one breaks the mold.
Because that one they actually use the bore size.
So a 10 gauge, that's wild.
10 balls, .775, weighed 1 pound. 10 gauge is big. I mean, it's pretty much so used for goose hunting.
Right. So what happens with that? So the balls.
Well, you get a lot more shot in it because it's bigger around, and you shoot those at 3.5 inch, shooting geese at 75 yards, 80 yards above you. It's really hard on the shoulder.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of kick.
A lot of shucks. What they call that? Recoil. Yeah. Okay. The other day you were explaining to me what an AK meant. No.
AR.
What AR meant.
Armor light rifle.
Armor light rifle.
It does not stand for automatic rifle.
It's just AR. Armor light rifle.
Armor light rifle, semi-automatic. There's tons of different semi-automatics out there. Just none of them look scary.
We're supposed to go with Chavez to the range and supposed to be shooting a new gun for Megan. Oh yeah. Supposed to get that Springfield, see if she likes the Springfield. Ooh, see if she likes it. Chavez didn't call me though.
Little 9.
Yeah. You got to listen to the police friends you have. You have police friends and they tell you about the guns to use. You should probably listen to them.
Mine's good. I mean, mine's a Glock. My carry is a small Glock.
Yeah. I like the revolver because maybe it can. I reckon it can. Anything can get jammed, but I reckon that just doesn't happen as often with a revolver.
It's mechanical. Anything can fail. I mean, it's really buying a gun that is of high quality, that has a long mean time between failure, and then you also have to maintain it because it's a piece of equipment.
Sure. Yeah, and I need to get into cleaning guns. I'm not too into it because I know I don't really shoot my guns unless I'm at the range. I have a reason to shoot my gun.
When you shoot them, you bring them over and I clean them for you. It's fine.
See? Bang, bang. I need to learn how to fish, though.
We're going to do that this summer.
Speaking of fish, so you bought a new boat.
I did. I bought a used boat, but yeah, bass boat. So you and I, and yes, you're going to do some fishing this spring and maybe a little camping. Who knows?
I'm trying to. Why do I always forget the type of camping I'm trying to do? What it's called? But it's the off the beaten path camping. There's a specific name for it.
I mean, my wife loves camping, but it's Holiday Inn for her. She wouldn't do the 10 days in Alaska in a guide tent with me hunting. There's no way.
Dispersed camping. Dispersed. That's what I want to do. Dispersed camping. I want to go. I got this picture in my head from back in the day. I love the show Family Matters, and Steve Urkel and Eddie Winslow and Carl Winslow and maybe Waldo. I think they all go camping. And, it's not just a campsite. Like, they really go hike for a while, and they find just an open little spot and they camp, and the bear comes and eats all their food. And anyway, so they had to fish for their own food. And I don't eat meat. I'm a real vegan for like a long time. I don't know. It's been years and years and years. But I said that I'm probably going to get sick or whatever. I'm like, I want to go camping, dispersed camping, where you only eat he brings like some nuts and some berries, like some nuts to make sure you don't die. But you only eat, if you want something else to eat other than those nuts, you got to go get it. You got to find some berries. You got to go fish.
So we go fishing. Something. I'll drop you off somewhere on the river up the lake, and then I'll just come back and get you the next day or 2 days whenever you tell me to come get you.
That's what I need to do.
Ish and I'll continue fishing. We'll stay in a bed.
That's what I need to do. I need to do it because I feel like I need to. I didn't have like a man journey. I've done journeys, but I talked to this one Lakota medicine man, and he said that one of the biggest reasons why we have problems we have today with men not being men and our men not acting like men and not having being masculinity and all this is because we don't have men ceremonies anymore. And they used to have these men ceremonies where the boys, they would be like 13 or 14, they would go out into the woods and they get left in the woods and they'd leave them there all night. Sometimes they leave them a couple of days, but most times just like one, they get them there at 5 p.m. and they don't come back to like 12 or 1 p.m. the next day. Like they have to spend the whole night in the woods by themselves, and they have to hear the sounds of the woods, and you have to make a little shelter for the night. You have to survive, that night in the woods, and it's supposed to, turn you into a man or give you that, it's that extra boost or whatnot. And I think like a lot of people did it different ways, right? Like, so for example, you probably did that in a different way, on the farm or taking care of shit.
Well, and I was in Boy Scouts when it was a real great organization, did a lot of great things, did a lot of jamborees, but did a lot of camping, tent camping as a kid growing up.
But wasn't there some time where you maybe had to go do something alone, like,
oh, yeah,
as a man, like, and it was dark and it was like you had to face a fear?
Yeah, all the time.
Right? Because you were out on the farm, weren't you? Like, on a homestead?
Grew up in town, but
you had a farm.
Yeah, but there was all kinds of times. I mean, I still like doing it. I love going down to the farm before the sun's up and start walking and just doing stuff and listening and
sure,
maybe sitting and just pouring a cup of coffee and just sitting there listening to what's happening in life or what's not happening. That's probably the important thing is what's not happening in my mind. I'm hearing all this other stuff.
So a lot of these kids that are growing up now, like think about the kids in their 20s and early 30s or, coming upon now, and they, like, what do they do that was, like in nature alone, or what do they have to fend for themselves for? What, other than like going to Starbucks by themselves and grabbing a latte or some shit.
Like Zach growing up, he'd go deer hunting with me, but he was with me.
Sure.
But he's still, we're out in the midst of nowhere. And he may be when he was a little older, he may be 100 yards from me. That's, to me, that's the...
It's not closest it gets to.
Well, that's the neat thing about hunting, especially if you're out by yourself. Or like when I go bear hunting in Canada, I'm sitting in a tree stand for, maybe 12 or 13 hours, waiting for a bear, just sitting there by myself from sunup to sundown, and walking out when it's dark. When you're walking out of those trees when it's dark, it's dark. And when you're there in Canada, there aren't city lights that you're seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a bright moon, there's a bright moon. If there's no bright moon, there's no bright moon, man. You're relying on your headlamp or your flashlight or whatever to walk at least 100 yards through thick cover back out to where your machine is.
Sure. So it's a little different.
In Alaska, I slept 10 nights by myself in a tent with nobody within 75 yards of me. And there's all kinds of things up there that'll eat
bears
you.
up there. It's real bears. Real bears. Right, grizzlies are up there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like grizzlies those are the
pretty high up on the food chain.
Woo-wee. I mess with a grizzly. No, see, I want to do that. I want to definitely spend some. I think I might want to do it in the Grand Canyon if I really want to do some real.
Well, I think you'd really also like, and I know you haven't been there yet, but Arches.
Where's that at?
Utah. It's in.
Ooh.
Geez, where is Arches at? Look now. We've been through there.
So I've driven just a little bit through Utah, but I've seen on movies how cool Utah can look. Arches. I've seen how cool it can look, and I'm like, Arches National Park?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Where's that at in Utah?
Well, if you pull it out on the map here, I would say,
but
it's not too far from
Right
Colorado.
there. No, there's a town.
So
Moab. Yeah.
Yeah, Moab.
We stayed in Moab.
Not too far from Colorado.
It's really cool.
Wow. So you can go to Grand Junction straight over there.
Yep.
You can go to there. Wow, that's pretty cool.
It's a really cool place to visit. Especially at sunrise and sunset.
Can you see stars up there a lot?
Oh yeah.
Really huge.
Oh yeah.
I want to see the night sky one time.
That's why we're going to go to Valentine fishing.
Ooh.
So Valentine in August, Sturgis is going on in South Dakota.
Sure.
There's a big stargazing event in August, always in Valentine, Nebraska, because you get out by the lake. There's no city lights.
No light pollution.
It's just you just see the stars. And
can you see the Milky Way? Can you see the glaze?
Oh yeah. I mean, you're at a decent elevation in Valentine.
Oh yeah, you're still getting up there a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's right. Because that's pretty close to the. That's nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go check that. I'm ready to check that out. We gotta go do it. I'm ready to do all the things. Get in the boat. Like I said, I've been wanting to buy a pontoon so bad, but I just have nowhere to put it.
I know that's why I ended up with the smallest boat as I did, at 18-footer, because it's just where I can put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're at 25, almost 2,600 feet.
Okay, a little half mile. Okay, get it in. That's sweet. Yeah, we're gonna have to get up there. They got a little airport there too, huh?
Oh yeah, they do.
That's not bad. Yeah, we're gonna have to do it.
It's a beautiful country.
Until Friday, you got Louisville and Boston College. I love Boston College. I don't believe in Louisville. Louisville has been playing just on and off all year. It's tough though. That ACC is weird. Or that Big East. Big East is weird.
Agreed.
Rutgers and USC. The Rutgers did you dirty last week. But I knew UCLA was due, Pops. I knew it.
I know.
I knew they were due. But Rutgers just, I don't know, it makes you feel weird about Nebraska. I just don't understand how we even beat Rutgers if they go and play like Indiana like that. But anyways, all right, Rutgers, USC Trojans. USC 14.5. USC has just been stinking it up, though.
They've been hurting us.
That's weird. I can't see USC beating them by 14.5 anymore. Now I've seen what happened in Maryland. But I'm going to stay away from it. I'm definitely not going to bet that game. Oklahoma and Ole Miss. Oklahoma had a horrible week last week. Oh, they look so bad.
Yeah.
They look. I don't know if they're done or not. Are they done? They play Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is pretty good. 21 points, though. It's a lot of points. And I mean, at this time of the season, you want to say what they are, who they are, but that's a lot of points, Pops.
Yeah, 20.5 at this point. Old Miss isn't that bad. Oklahoma's on the road.
Oof. So you like them?
That's
a lot of points.
I don't like Oklahoma. I mean, I 20.5.
That's tough, man.
I'm an Ole Miss guy. Ever stay away.
I might stay away from that. Okay, so here we go. This Ohio State game. Okay, it's minus 25.5. Where did I hear it open at 46?
I do like Bama.
Who's Bama play?
Missouri at home.
Oh, yeah.
13.5.
Ooh, 13.5 though? Think Milroe's going to be ready to go?
Yep.
13.5? Oh, my goodness.
They got to get after it.
It's a lot of points. It's a lot of
Two
points.
touchdowns.
So you got Georgia Tech and Virginia. Virginia Tech. So Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. That's tough. This is a weird week here.
It is.
Okay, the Illini and the fight in the Ducks. 25 points. What? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
well, the wow to me is Texas minus 18 playing Vandy at Vandy Stadium. At Vandy's home.
Vanderbilt is. I like that. You like Vanderbilt to upset them?
Yeah. Well, I don't think they're going to lose by more than 18.
Sure, that's tough to see that.
And they're starting to build a little quarterback controversy in Texas.
You're right. Why would they put the brother in when it was, I don't know. It's just, you got to do what you got to do. I don't know.
Political.
Yeah. I mean, Arch brings a lot of seats no matter what. So we like Texas to not cover. I like that. I like Vandy, and I might put Vandy on a money line just because. It'll be plus some good points. I like that. It'll be plus some good points. What was the Vandy money line, I wonder? Okay, Penn State, Wisconsin. Penn State's got 6.5 in them?
I believe Penn State.
Penn State's got 6.5.
Where's that game at?
It's in Wisconsin, though.
Oh, yeah.
Badger Stadium.
That's the only reason why it's at 6.5.
Yeah. Badger Stadium. I like Kansas to bring the upset to Kansas State. I do like the money line on that. It's the plus 300 money line. It's a 10-point spread. Kansas State's just been inconsistent. I like Kansas in the rivalry to bring it out. This is when they come and play. And they're finally getting juking. They played good last week. They're finally getting juking. Hey.
It's in Manhattan.
Hey, my Buffaloes are favored at home by 4.5. That's dangerous.
Cincy.
That's dangerous. Oh, that's dangerous. If I'm not mistaken, Cincy, did they just lose to Kansas? Am I tripping? Let me see. Or did Cincy just... No, they just beat Arizona State. Okay, they just beat Arizona State. I'm tripping.
ASU, yeah.
They beat Arizona State 14-24. Coming into... I mean, they're playing okay football. Look, they beat UCF. They barely beat UCF 19-13. Texas Tech, they lost 41-44. They killed Houston. Beat Miami, Ohio. They lost to Pitt 28-27. Ooh. So they've been just barely losing games, and they lost. I mean, they've lost their 2 games by a total of 4 points. I don't know. You know me. I want them to win so bad that I won't bet on them because I just want to stay away.
I know.
Just, we'll see. But I think that the Huskers, I think even 25.5, I guess. Maybe I give Ohio State that, I guess. I guess you got to give them 25.5.
Yeah, I just want to see how kind of the week goes and what we're hearing and see where the line moves.
I really, it's bad luck to bet on Nebraska too. I feel like when you bet on the heart teams,
I often bet against them, and then if they win,
if you lose, you're not mad.
Yeah. So I donated $100. It could be worse.
Yeah, I dig it. It's like, hey, look, that mine was the one. Trying to see if there's anything else on here that we like. LSU, I hate betting LSU because they're just weird. Ooh, here we go. Miami, Florida State. Does Florida State have it in them, Pops? They suck. Plus 800. This is where it happens. This is where Cam Ward finally loses one. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen in a stupid game like this where Florida State comes to play. Now, Miami, I'm going to be real. They are questionable in a few ways. I really like them, but they're questionable in a few ways. And Florida State just has enough, I think, to do something.
It's at Miami.
It is.
If it was
If it's in Florida State, it'd be better.
yeah.
It would. It would. This is wishful thinking. This is totally. Oh, the Vanderbilt is plus 700 too.
Yeah, we got some.
I like that.
We got a couple money lines we can throw some little bit of cash at.
I like that. Okay, BYU. They're only -2 at UCF.
I know.
They like UCF in Orlando. Or UCF must be hungry. I like BYU.
I do too.
That's an easy bet, I think.
To me, that's the best bet on the sheet.
That's the best bet on the sheet. You're right. And the academies, what are they? Oh, there we go. Navy, baby. The midshipman, it's only plus 360. It's 12.5. 12.5 for the 12.5. The midshipman. Notre Dame's favored by 12.5, and it's at the Naval Academy.
Annapolis.
At the Naval Academy. How cool. I don't know. I like that game.
Who's Army playing this week?
I think they're off.
Are they off? They're open?
Yeah, they're finally off. They finally get a break. Yeah. Army did me dirty in the last fourth quarter, bro.
I know.
That was gross. That was so gross. Okay, so our big bets. BYU, that's a good one. We like Vanderbilt because that's a lot of points to cover. So Vandy on the points. We like BYU. I kind of like Florida State on the points. And Pops likes Alabama. Strong.
I do.
Alabama. And I think that was about good. Now, really quick, let's talk about the Huskers because I want to put this on one of the Husker things. Okay. Coach Rule, come out of a bye week. A lot of people are saying that it just looked like they weren't ready to go. It didn't prepare good enough for what Indiana was bringing. How do you feel?
That's exactly how I feel. They did not. They were not prepared. Uh-oh.
Oh, you got a little voicemail.
I did.
Okay, so they didn't prepare. Oh, was everything okay?
Yeah. Okay. I got a great guy coming to fix our garage door opener tomorrow.
Oh, okay, cool. So they weren't prepared. And some people are saying, hey, how come this other coach at Indiana has his guys going in their top 15 and he just got there and all this? Why can't we get that movement? What's the difference?
Well, I think they went out and spent some pretty big money, big transfer portal. And I think when he was going there, he was very vocal about, hey, I'm 61. I got to win now. I don't want to build a team. I don't win now. And so I think, they went out and got some quality players from all over.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting if they'll spend that money year after year or how long he'll be there and what his intention is for coaching.
Yeah.
But I kind of like his attitude. Did you hear him talk about away games?
No.
He said, we're going to get there late. We're going to do a quick walkthrough. We're going to get to the hotel about 8 o'clock. We're going to feed everybody. We're going to get up the next morning. We're going to kick their ass, and we're getting back on a plane going home.
Damn. He said, we ain't chilling at your city. We ain't doing no sightseeing.
No.
We coming to handle business, damn it. Wow.
We're going to win a football game. We're coming home.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I mean, he's a pretty no BS guy. Almost.
Remind you of Pelini?
Well, actually, a little bit of that. And he coached with, I can't think his name. Bama's old coach.
Saban.
Saban. He coached for Nick.
Okay.
He was a recruiting coordinator. And I think like DB coach or receiver coach or something.
Yeah.
But he's kind of no bullshit kind of guy.
Sure.
I mean, there's just.
So do you believe that Rule's still the guy here?
I do. I think he's building the program. I mean, I think he's, we got to give him at least 4 years to see what happens, unless we see a mass exodus of players or something strange happens.
Something weird.
So far he's been building the blocks.
Yeah.
Still got a freshman quarterback. Still got wounded warriors on the offensive line.
Yeah.
I was probably more disappointed about the defense because I don't think Indiana did anything that we didn't see on tape. And we didn't man up very well.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see any of the game.
Yeah.
But everybody just was on my feed saying how bad it was.
Well, and, early in the game, we receive the kickoff and catch the ball and step out at the 2.
Ooh.
Instead of just letting it go.
Ooh.
We drive down after they score. We drive down throw a pick. No, we fumble. We fumble. So we killed ourselves in that first quarter. Probably not only, I think emotionally, I think it just really took the air out of the guys. Another special teams woe. Our special teams are still a long ways from being average. I think we're below
special,
average.
Huh?
No.
Not being special.
I do like everything that's happening outside of football.
Yeah.
I really do like that. And I'm a little concerned about the OC because it seems like we're pretty predictable.
Sure. Well, we got Ohio State this week. Everybody's saying that's a loss. Okay. Then you come back to UCLA. And UCLA is trending right now. And you got the coach from KC over there. Okay, so that's a hard one. That's a toss-up. Then you got another 50-50 game against Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
And then after Wisconsin, you got Iowa.
Well, we've got another bye week in there on the 9th.
Okay.
So we're going to play 3 games, and we're going to have a bye.
And so to get ready for Iowa.
For USC.
Oh, for USC. I forget about USC.
We go on the road to USC on the 16th.
And USC isn't looking that strong. USC may be the best opportunity for a win on that schedule.
Well, and then Wisconsin's pretty beat up. We play them in Lincoln, so that's
like
at home.
One. You like that one.
I like that opportunity.
You like that one.
And then we go to Iowa.
So, these are all toss-ups, but there's some winnables.
Oh, yeah. I think
everything's winnable except for Ohio State.
Ohio State, I just don't think we've got the ponies.
Sure. But
something crazy would have to happen for us to win that game.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, the Huskers don't get another win. Nah. Where do you think that puts it?
Well, we're not going to a bowl game.
Well, I know that, but where do you think that would put the Husker feelings and Faithful and Rule? And like, if he can't get one of the next 4 right?
Yeah.
Would that be tough for
2 of them at home?
People? Would that be tough for people to swallow?
Oh, yeah. With 2 of them at home?
It'd
we got 2 home games left.
Wisconsin, UCLA.
We've got to win one of those 2 home games.
Those are winnables.
They're both winnables at home.
Okay, now what if he comes out and he wins all 4 of them hoes? He gets Wisconsin and USC. Then he goes and he gets, he gets Wisconsin, UCLA. Then he goes gets USC and Iowa.
Yeah.
Now that's a season. Now that's a 9-win season.
Yeah, 9-2.
You're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
The 9-win season.
9-3, I guess. Should be.
Yeah, 9-3. That'd be a good season.
That'd be a great season.
Okay.
I thought early on we could get to 7.
Yeah. But 9 is doable.
Oh, yeah. 9's very doable.
9 is doable, y'all.
It's really going to be interesting what type of gut check the guys have going to Columbus this week and how mentally and physically they can get through this game to get to UCLA.
How do you respond coming to this one?
If we get blown out here and the kids are really flat, then UCLA
come in and light us
home.
Up. 56, like if they get blown out another 56 to something or something.
Oh man,
that'd be tough, huh?
Yeah, well they're kids.
In a way, they want to.
They're going to be hurt. They're going to be hurting.
Ego, you man. All right, Husker faithful, you can still get 9 wins here.
We can
still get 9. We can see 9. There it is. We talked a lot about a lot of stuff tonight, Pops. We got some affirmative action. We got some gender stuff. We got a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, really quick for relief. Don't let anybody bully you into who to vote for. They say a vote for somebody else. I'll just keep it true. They say if you vote for a third party, it's a vote for Trump. Or if it's a vote for somebody, it's no. If you vote for who you want to vote for, it's a vote for that person. And you keep your conscience clear and you vote for whomever it is that you feel like you need to vote for. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't owe anybody that. Okay? Nope. Your vote is yours and you can make it how you want to. So go vote for who you want to vote for, y'all.
And please educate yourself on candidates' issues and make sure whoever you're voting for is aligning with you.
Don't just watch a TikTok.
Yeah, don't just watch TikToks. Don't just watch the news. Do some research.
So you can actually go to I think these people's websites. And I think they have a platform.
Yep. Most of them do.
And it shows what you want. What's the name? Just put her platform up. It took a minute, but literally they have a platform and spend more than 5 minutes on it, guys. And vote for who you want to.
And then look at the platform and see how you feel about it and do some research on is it doable or is it just political smoking shit, you know?
Well, that's a good point too. And I guess you could look at the platform, and if somebody's saying that they're going to do something, and they had a chance to do it, or they have a chance to do it right now,
or they didn't do it before, or their voting record shows that they never supported that in the past.
And is this the best time in history? Have we ever had a time in history where you have basically almost two incumbents? I know it's the vice president, it's a little different, but she's in the cabinet, she's in the things, right? And then you got a guy that was president. So the main two parties, if you're voting for those folks, the main two parties, I'm a fifth or sixth party guy, but the main two parties, you actually have a body of work to go off of. They say, well, I want to do this. And then you have a body of work to say, well, did you do that? And you have a white guy over here. I want to do this. And you have a body of work. Did you do that? That's pretty cool.
Well, and it's actually really cool. And if you look at 82% of our presidents have been politicians. 18% of our presidents have been generals. Never had an admiral. You know, they've been generals from the Army.
Wow.
So, and then you've got this anomaly of Trump, who was a business guy that ran. Everybody else has been either military, been Army general, or have been a politician.
Been a politician, sure.
For some time.
That's
pretty
cool.
interesting.
That is interesting. That's very interesting. It's very interesting.
And we've tasted a lot of politicians. We haven't tasted near as many military guys in our lifetime.
Sure. I liked Wesley Clark. I don't know if you remember him. I liked Wesley Clark a lot. I think he was the Desert Storm guy. I liked Wesley Clark. I like Dr. Cornel West. I just got onto. I've been on Dr. Cornel, but I just found some new stuff about Dr. Cornel West. I just bought a bumper sticker.
I'm not a bumper sticker guy.
I gave him $10. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but it's gonna be Trump or Kamala. Like, we know it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Trump or Kamala. But I'm just saying, don't let anybody bully you into voting for either person. Vote for who you want to. Because they're gonna try to bully you. They're gonna say you have to do it because you're this or you're that, or you. No, you don't.
Who I was really hoping would have ran right out of Desert Storm was Schwarzkopf.
I don't know.
Norman. He was the general. He was the 4-star general in charge of the whole operation.
Really?
He was a no bullshit guy.
I tell you what. Hey, look. Somebody comment who your ideal dream presidential candidate would be. Yeah. Comment that. Who's the best presidential candidate? Who's the best presidential candidate that you could ever think of?
And who would be their running mate?
Who would be the running mate? Do you have somebody on the top of your head? Not Jesus, guys. I'm talking about like, you know, give me a person here now.
You know, the one thing I think will be really interesting if Trump gets in is having Elon Musk involved in his cabinet. You know, he's talked about him doing the government efficiency thing. And you can say what you want about Elon Musk, but he is one smart dude who has...
He gonna cut the government down like he did Twitter?
Well, that's what he says.
80% of y'all.
Well, you think about... He has redefined everything he's done.
Yeah. No more work from home.
He was the one that redefined the electric car. And actually, he said, there shouldn't be any subsidies for electric cars. Either buy them because you make a good product or you don't.
Sure.
I mean, you know, the NASA thing, you know, he got like 25% of the contract. Boeing got 75%. But he's the only one he's the one that's gone up to rescue the astronauts that Boeing's rocket left up there.
I'm pretty sure, isn't Elon Musk right now like the largest government contractor guy, like that's not military?
No.
He's big.
I think Boeing is.
That's not military. Boeing's military.
Well, kind of.
He's making jet planes, the F-15 or some shit, ain't they?
Well, they bid on different ones. General Dynamics. But
man, they go tough. Yeah, but
you think about everything that he's got into, he's turned it upside down.
Yeah.
I mean, he made a rocket land.
Yeah, that's stupid. No, he caught a rocket.
Caught it. Yeah, he caught
it. No. Hold on. He made a rocket land, yes, but then he just caught a rocket with like an arm.
Yeah.
Like what? Anyways, what do you think about his robots? Did you see those robots?
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. I'm actually really excited about his phone.
Oh yeah, I am too. I will switch to a Musk phone.
I mean, if the
it's gonna be totally encrypted.
Yeah,
totally what you call it. Yeah, that's the only way you're gonna be able to keep your coin.
And you're always gonna have service.
Yeah,
because if there's no cell towers for it to ping off of, you're gonna go off his satellites.
Yeah, you know, Elon is a different dude, man. I read his book or a book about him or some shit. He's a weird dude.
He's the only engineer I've ever heard say that we want to engineer this. If there's a failure or something happens, okay, we need to engineer it with less parts. Not adding parts for more fail safes. We need to have less parts, so we have to worry about less sales. It's just crazy the way he thinks about things. Yeah.
So what is it about engineers playing video games all the damn time? Like, he's a video game junkie. Like, he has addictions. Like, he says that he will binge for 3-4 days on a video game.
It's logic. It's trying for him. I'm sure it's trying to figure out the algorithm in his head to how to win.
Sure.
Because he's a pretty smart dude.
Sure. It's weird, but see, like, your son's an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a big video game guy.
Yeah.
Right? My son, he wants to be an engineer, and he's as smart as an engineer. And fucking guys on the video game all damn day. He loves it. He loves that damn game.
That was when my son was growing up, he loved video games. Then he goes to college, chemical engineering school, and he has to build a game.
Oh, wow.
He has to program a game.
Cool.
And he's mad about it. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, what's this going to do for me in chemical engineering? I said, well, you're building this game, so with this action, this happens. With this action, this happens. So somebody can put in a whole bunch of data.
Yeah.
And you can build a program that then is going to give you a result. It may not be the result you want, but it's going to be the accurate result based on all the data.
Sure.
So it's the same thing as the game, son. And he's like, well, why didn't they tell me that? And I'm like, I don't know.
They didn't give him the why. They didn't give him the why.
Yeah, exactly.
He wanted the why. So you got to give him the why.
Hey, man, peace out. Thanks for participating with us.
Another one, middle of the street. Come fuck with us.
Thanks, man.
No agenda, no bull crap, just real conversations. Thank you for joining us for the Middle of the Street podcast.